Hello, Rob Leidick with Wavelengths, and today is part 2 on pulling the curtain back on the access control secrets, traps, and creating an eyes wide open experience on all the downstream decisions that are made at each step of the access control decision tree for products and solutions. Today's topic is on mobile credentials, which many of you know I'm quite passionate about. And I'm going to break that down so that you have a very clear idea what questions to ask a provider that help you understand if you're making the right decision for your organization or not, and if you are making that decision, how to understand everything that happens as a downstream effect from that. So let's break the mobile credential, and I'll put that in quotes, mobile credential, into two different groups. In the access control world, we have what is called as app-based mobile credentials. You may refer to it as a Bluetooth credential, but that doesn't tell the full story. An app-based mobile credential can actually transmit via Bluetooth on an Apple device and can transmit via NFC on an Android device. Why? Apple locked down the NFC communication protocol on an iPhone for quite a while. As a result, the access control industry had to develop a mobile credential utilizing the Bluetooth radio on an Apple device. That's why it's commonly referred to as a Bluetooth credential. On an Android device, it did have the ability to be transmitted via the NFC radio, but it was still that app-based type of experience. I'll dive into a lot of pluses and minuses on the credential technology in a future talk, but for today, let's just talk about there are two different types, and let's continue down the path of the app-based. The app-based, utilizing Bluetooth, you think, hey, Bluetooth is a standard. I use it for my earbuds. I use it for connecting different peripheral devices to my computer. What makes a Bluetooth credential any different? Well, it's a little convoluted that the Bluetooth, or BLE in this case, Bluetooth Low Energy, is a standard as a communication protocol. However, everything is custom and proprietary about a BLE credential and access control. The credential and how it's transmitted and how it's received by a respective reader has no standard to it. As a result, the access control providers have to determine how those two devices pair from the mobile device to the reader, and has to determine how that data is actually transmitted between those two devices. And as such, everything is proprietary. If you have a Bluetooth mobile app or any app-based product, it is proprietary to that provider. Its unique interaction between its software on that mobile device and that specific reader is entirely proprietary. And I wish there was something we could do about it, but there isn't, because there's no standard around it. And as such, we've seen manufacturers treat that as a weapon that says, hey, I want that BLE credential, and it forces them to make the decision for what readers that they have, and it forces every other decision downstream from that I'll address in another tech. Now, you ask, why am I referring to this as an app-based? Well, I briefly mentioned that under an Android device, you could use the NFC radio. Well, it's still that same app. And there's a fundamental problem with them. And that is, as the operating systems on those mobile devices get updated, it changes the experience. And that becomes one of the main problems, that in addition to security and denial of service attacks, relay attacks, and a bunch of other things that I'll address in greater detail. So let's now talk about the second credential type in mobile credentials, and that is the wallet credentials. All wallet credentials leave via NFC. And it's foundationally based in the wallet by those providers of Apple, Google, Samsung, which are the leaders in the market. On the similar structure that you would use for payment, that you had for loyalty or tickets or a bunch of those other use cases, and it's foundationally based on trust and credibility. The trust and credibility within the payment scenario is very ubiquitous. On a global basis, I just saw some data on the web, and please search it. I'll put it in the comments as well. Apple Pay has 383 million users. Google Pay has 150 million users on that payment structure. And that's only growing exponentially. The amount of commerce that's flying through that is huge. That trusted foundation of security and credibility from the payment structure is what we are able to provide on a wallet-based credential in access control. Yes, it validates identity. Yes, it has amazing user experience, but foundationally, it's trusted and it's on something we already have, which all of us have, the smartphones. So it's also based on a standard. So the NFC is the ISO 14443. That determines how close it has to be. That enables that standard, and it has all that security on the backside. So foundationally, it is a far, far superior user experience and a far more secure experience. But let's dive into a little bit deeper on how it relates to access control and how it affects your decisions. There are two basic credential types that can leave from the wallet via the NFC radio on your phone or your watch. And those technologies are MyFair DesFire from that technology's ubiquitous, used globally. It's present on every single reader in the access control industry, except for those that are just procs, which those should all be tossed out anyway. It's owned by a company called NXP, a very, very large semiconductor manufacturer who has this credential tech that enables open and interoperability. At Wavelengths, we do use the MyFair DesFire out of the wallet providers. It can be used as MyFair DesFire, or on some devices, it's called MyFair To Go, which you'll hear a lot about that here in the coming weeks as well. With it being open and interoperable, companies can go down two paths with that with the MyFair DesFire. The first is they can choose to make it interoperable. They can choose that credential can operate on anybody's hardware. And at Wavelengths, we choose to do that. You can also choose to make MyFair DesFire proprietary. And we do see some providers that are coming out with wallet solutions that are making it proprietary, making it only work on their hardware solutions. When we get to the three questions, you'll be able to define who's doing what in a very clear manner. The second technology that can come out from a wallet provider utilizing NFC is CIOS. That is owned by HID, and they can make a determination on which respective hardwares can accommodate that. But in all cases, you need to know that the wallet credential, as you move into it, while it is superior, while it provides an amazing user experience and validates identity, it's no different than the physical credential in terms of the decisions that it makes for you as an integrator or an end user. If you choose a wallet provider, know that it can affect the reader that you select, the electronic lock that you select, and the doors, the hinges, the frames, all of it. And I've seen it happen hundreds of times with large end users and medium end users. A manufacturer will absolutely use the credential tech to make all those decisions for you, enabling you to be trapped into their respective ecosystem. So what can you do? What three questions can you ask the respective provider to have an eyes wide open experience on what choices you're making? First, ask if the mobile credential can be used on other hardware, and ask them specifically what hardware is qualified and have them define it by part number. Don't just accept, oh, we work with this manufacturer, we work with that manufacturer. Ask for a very specific list. Can your mobile credential be used on other hardware? If so, what ones and what's the part numbers of it? Question 2, and I find this be really important. Ask if their hardware on the reader side will accept other credential technologies from other providers. So can you select a wallet credential from an access control provider and have it work on their specific provided hardware? As I mentioned, the NXP MyFair DesFire ecosystem is present on nearly every access control reader in the market. Is the company that is providing that hardware and has the technical ability, can they accept a credential from somebody else that's been generated? And in the event that they can, how do they do it? And it should be a really easy and seamless process. And then question 3, ask if you were, as an end user or an integrator, can choose to use their technology, but with other hardware and software as well. Can I use this credential, and can you, as an end user, propose other hardware manufacturers that this can be read on as well? Because you want to have 100% of your readers that can accommodate a plastic credential, accommodate an electronic wallet credential as well in this case. So those 3 questions will help you understand what decisions you can make and what downstream decisions are being made for you. There's no right or wrong answer for your infrastructure. I find that if you just have your eyes wide open, you can make the best decisions for you. So thanks for joining today. Please continue to comment, share. I'm really pleased that this last video on the physical credential was able to reach an audience of 30,000 people in just a couple of days. Hopefully this will continue to proliferate. Please keep messaging me, commenting, and sharing with your colleagues. The next talk that I will provide is on readers. Expect that early next week. And again, thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you soon.